All right, I am here with another championship transformation. I have a client that just crushed her last 6 weeks with us, but I'm going to let her tell her story. What is your name?
My name is Jodie.
And Jody, how old are you?
I am 26.
And what do you do for work?
I work in retail. So I'm on my feet a lot, like 4 or 5 hours a day. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So somewhat pretty active, sounds like.
Yeah, I would say so.
All right. So before joining the challenge, this is what you've been doing. Kind of share with me, like, what was life like? What was your health and what was your fitness like before joining us?
Before the challenge, I was very inconsistent with a lot of things. Working out wasn't really on my radar, and every time I tried a workout plan of some sort, it didn't really last very long. I kind of found it more as a chore than anything, so I never really wanted to work out. In terms of eating, I'm a huge foodie, so sticking to any sort of diet was really hard for me, and went through a lot of phases of fad diets, and yeah, just like things that weren't working for me.
Sure. What kind of diets did you try before?
Um, I've tried like intermittent fasting, like calorie counting, macro counting, but I wasn't really focused on the protein part of it.
Mhm.
I've gone through like juice fasts, like all sorts of stuff. But nothing lasted more than like probably 2 weeks.
Very short. You do it for a little bit and it didn't work. So and then you just stop. What do you think the reason why you didn't weren't able to like do it consistently?
I think it was a lot of like doing it alone. So not having the accountability and not really having fun with it. And living at home, like my excuse was always like, oh, like ethnic foods like aren't healthy or like that sort of stuff. And because my mom cooks at home, like I love her food, so I would never change that diet aspect, to sort of stick to the plan. But yeah.
Okay, cool. So you tried a lot of stuff, wasn't able to stick to it, almost made excuses about like, oh, because I like this type of food, you know, maybe I won't be able to get the results I want.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Um, you did the challenge, you're finished now, which is awesome. What were some of your results?
I lost, I think, exactly 7% on the last day, 7% body fat. I think it was about 12 pounds that I lost. And diet wise, like throughout the whole challenge, the diet aspect I thought was going to be the hardest. But it actually wasn't that bad, because everything was sort of laid out for me. And because I had like invested so much and I had like bought the protein powder and like done all this stuff, I was more like intentional with my meals. Um, so that made it really easy. And then finding like workouts that I liked through Fight Fitness and the kickboxing stuff, that was just like a fun aspect of it that I really enjoyed.
Good. So two things I heard: drop 7% body fat, which is massive. You lost over 12 pounds. You started to like the workouts. What kind of intangibles did you feel that, like, not necessarily weight or body fat, from finishing the challenge?
Um, I would say my energy levels definitely had a difference. There were like a couple of the weeks that I was able to do quite a few of the 6 a.m. classes. Sleep was a lot better. Um, yeah, and like my mood and how I felt about myself was just overall so much better. Like I'm a lot more confident now. Um, yeah.
Let's talk about the confidence. What do you feel like you have now versus before you started the challenge? Like, what do you feel confident about most?
I think because before I always struggled with like not seeing results and not being able to stay consistent. Um, Going into the challenge, I was like, can I really do this? And then throughout the challenge, I got more motivated as I saw like the scale drop a little, like my clothes fitting differently. And by the end of the challenge, I was more confident in the sense of like, okay, like I've done this, and knowing that I can show the results, like even if I were to backtrack a little or lose a little progress, like it's not the end of the world. Um, and I think the confidence like made a huge part in like me continuing the journey and staying with lifestyle.
Love it. Because it sounded like, anything you tried before was very short. And then now you've actually been able to finish the full 6 weeks, get the results you want. And now you almost feel like you can accomplish more. That type of confidence, it sounds like, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's awesome. You mentioned you like the kickboxing. That was like, it was something that was fun. What do you think was the what did you like most about the workouts?
Um, I liked how I loved how all the coaches are so motivating and so friendly. Walking into every class, like they know you by your name, and it just makes such a huge difference of them also seeing you progress. I really like the kickboxing classes in terms of it's more like technique based, and it's never the same thing. So I never know like what I'm going to do, and it's kind of like a surprise, which is always fun. And yeah, like it kind of challenges me in different ways. Like there'll be days that I'll be using muscles that like I didn't even know I had.
Yeah.
And then the next day I feel it and I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is something I need to work on. So yeah, it's nice and motivating to like always have something fresh and new.
Good. It's fun. You're learning something new and also working muscles that you never knew existed. Cool.
Mhm.
All right, Jody. So I always ask this question. It's a two-part question. First off, were you skeptical about the challenge and before you started signing up? And what would you say to someone who is in that same position as you, to motivate them to do the challenge?
I definitely did have a little bit of skepticism in terms of like, whether or not it was sustainable or um, like really like how much can I lose in like 6 weeks or like that sort of thing. But I think at that time I was so unhappy about how I felt and the progress that I wasn't making. It was just like a snap, like I just got to do it. Like don't think about it, just do it. And then once your foot is in the door, like the rest of what is to come, like it is up to you, sort of thing. Um, so yeah, like I was kind of skeptical, but just having done it, like it was very um surprising, and I definitely learned a lot about myself in terms of like discipline, motivation, like that sort of stuff. For anyone who's considering or hesitating about this challenge, um, I would say think about. Actually, I recently found this quote that was like, "Don't do the same stuff you did last year," or something like that. And that's kind of what I try to carry forward for the rest of the year is whatever I'm doing now or whatever I did last year that was making me unhappy, like don't do the same thing again. And so for me, like this challenge was kind of that step of changing things and seeing where it goes.
Love it. Powerful message, Jody. And a couple things I think that you mentioned is number one, it's a decision is made in an instant. And I think sometimes people push the decision way down the road and they don't take action. But you did, you got results and you didn't do the same thing that you did last year. And thus you were able to crush this challenge, lose over 7% body fat. Actually, your actual numbers is 14.6 pounds in 6 weeks. It looks
Oh,
like.
wow.
So that's been phenomenal. But I think the beauty is like you've also been able to maintain it, which you mentioned to me earlier, which is huge. And I think that's the true transformation. Like we always think, 6 weeks, yes, we'll see a difference, but the true transformation is now you've committed to something, you're able to see it through and you transform from someone who maybe wasn't so focused and consistent in their health to someone who now is. So congratulations on this transformation, Jody.
Thank you.
Awesome. Appreciate you doing this interview with me.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks so much.